Welcome to another episode of Inside the Valley. That's Dustin Black. I'm William Cockrell. We are joined in another episode of our opponent series by Georgia Tech's own Rec Talk. Mr. Rec, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I was jamming out to your intro song. That was quite the treat.
Yeah, no, it gets me excited every now and then, but every now and then I'm like, you know what, I just need, like, after I listen to that, I need football. It just reminds me right now that we're in the off season. The off season is way too long. It's way too long.
Yeah, sorry that I heard my girlfriend here in the background was about to say, "Hey, lady, we're doing YouTube here." But anyway, go ahead. She don't understand the deal.
Well, listen, this is why you're called Rec Talk. You can't nothing is easy, nothing is normal. Just like a Georgia Tech offense back in 2012, right? Paul Johnson's finest. We were talking about him a little bit before the episode. Yeah. Did Paul Johnson win a national championship while he was at Georgia Tech, or was that the guy before him?
A national championship? No, he won a national championship at Georgia Southern.
Southern.
It weren't the guy before him either. That was Chan Gailey. They won at 90 with Bob Ross, not Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. He was painting pictures and winning natties in Atlanta.
I was born in 90. I don't know, but we won it. We won it in 90. We had O'Leary as the OC. Ralph Friedgen, who ended up going to Maryland, was our OC, and O'Leary was the DC.
Paul Johnson was just there for so long. I just assumed he's been there since he was out the cradle. But Brent Key is in. I would assume that everybody in Atlanta or that wears the gold and blue has to be obsessed with Brent Key. Is that kind of the vibe around campus with him?
Yeah, I mean, it was for some time now. I will say, after the way last year went, right, we start off, we get a big win against y'all for the first time since Moses wore short pants in Atlanta. We had beat Georgia more recently than y'all. We beat Georgia in 2016. I don't think we'd beat y'all since like 2013 or something like that. So you get this 8-0 start, and then this really monumental collapse, winning one of your last 4 or 5 games. Almost got beat by Boston College. All you got to do is beat Pitt to make an ACC title appearance, and then you get folded into a lawn chair. They make a push to come back. So there's kind of like a bad taste in some people's mouths. I've caught a lot of flack from Tech fans of like, well, what happened with that? Because you have this monumental decline, losing 4 of your last 5, and then you lose your entire staff rolls over. So what is going on with that? Plus there was rumblings of Brent Key interviewing with Penn State, which I'm not saying that's the reason for why things went south at the end of the season. I am saying it probably didn't help though. So yeah, I think, with him hiring George Godsey, who played with him. I don't know how long y'all been watching Clemson football. Godsey played quarterback at Tech. This is his buddy, best man at his wedding. So is this just like a yes man hire? Because the guy hadn't coached in college since 2013. I mean, it's been a while. It was at Central Florida. So I think he's got a lot to prove as far as like, okay, can we put that to bed, and then can we do something this season?
Well, and if we usually start these episodes talking about the offense, but I think Georgia Tech, we got to start talking about this defense, because you want to point the finger at anybody on that roster last year is that defense, specifically the last 5 games. The last 5 games, they were second to last in total defense, and it was you had pieces on that defense. So what happened? They were below average all season, but the last 5 games they just fell off. So was it linebacker play? Was it defensive line play? Was it bad play calling? Like what was it that caused?
Yes, it was that. Yeah, I mean, look, we gave up 585 yards of offense to Boston College.
Yeah,
Boston College is awful right now. They're awful. The streak. I had grown out my mustache last season, so I was like, I'm not cutting it until we lose. We roll into NC State. They put up like 590 yards of offense on us or something. We could not stop them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still not over it. All right. And it was a lot of things. Yeah. We couldn't stop the run to save our lives, which is bad when you pair it with not being able to stop a throw at all. So Blake Gideon now gone. His exit from Georgia Tech was almost as weird as his entrance was. Like, he was kind of Schrodinger's coach for a while. He was both our DC and not our DC until observed, and the wave function collapsed. But I guess he went back to Texas. So Tech should be better this year on defense, but that's not really saying anything because I honestly don't know how they could be much worse. And this is a massive issue for Brent Key. Brent Key right now is averaging more than a DC a year. More than a year. He demoted Andrew Thacker, promoted Kevin Scherer like 2 years ago. He had 2 DCs at that time. The best defenses he's had was under Tyler Santucci, who came from Duke in his interim year. And aside from that, it's been pretty abysmal defensively.
Yeah.
Well, this is a Clemson podcast, so I will ask you about one piece on the defense. Tay Harris, super high on him as a recruit. Obviously, flips last minute to Georgia Tech. Is that? I mean, so Tay Harris, Kyle Efford, EJ Lightsey. What are the other known commodities on this defense other than what you got out of the portal?
Really looking to see a lot from Tay Harris. That was a huge flip for us. You're right. Kid out of Cedartown.
I never heard of him. Just
NFL traits, man. NFL traits for sure.
I mean, he's got everything you'd think you'd ever need in a defensive back. Now he was a true freshman last year, so he still played. But we're going to really need to see him take a big step up this year. Christian Garrett is a guy that we actually flipped from UGA. He played at Prince Avenue, which is the same school that like Aaron Philo came out of. It's right next to Athens and Bogart, Georgia. I've been hearing good things about him. I'm just looking down the list that you have here because I don't have all these guys' names off the top of my head. Mbakwe. We've got 2 guys from Alabama, one on the defensive side and a center. Jalen Mbakwe, I don't really know what happened with him at Alabama. I've asked people, but he's like a 5-star kid with phenomenal speed that you would think should be able to step up for you. Been hearing good things out of the defensive line group. I don't know about Tafig Thomas. The biggest indictment on him is that he played at Colorado, which makes me not all that confident in him with as much of a disaster as that program is. But look, we get Coach Semore, who coached with Key in his interim year. They're tied at the hip. I know he's going to be far more aggressive than Blake Gideon was. Blake Gideon just kind of said, let's play 15 yards off the ball everywhere and just pray they don't throw a 70-yard touchdown over the top. And his specialty is more linebacker. So you mentioned Kyle Eford has been good at stopping the run. He wasn't very good last year, but the big thing with him is speed and getting out and covering like a slot receiver if needed to be. I think he's dropped some weight. EJ Lightsey, kid that came out of Georgia, expect some good things from him. But, I think that's probably going to be our weakest group as linebacker, honestly. I'm far more confident in the secondary and hearing a lot of good things out of the defensive front.
Yeah, well, an Alabama DB not getting much playing time in Alabama isn't that big of an indictment when you look at who is actually starting for that team. So,
yeah, this year they're top 3 in terms of defensive back rooms, in my opinion. And it's between them, Georgia, and Oregon, in my opinion. But you talk about Colorado. You got a couple guys out of Colorado. Was that an interview game last year, week 1? I mean, Savion Riley. I guess he's going to be a backup safety, and then obviously you talk about Tafik Thomas. Snagged 2 guys out there in Boulder, so that was pretty interesting. Is the game against Colorado at home or over in Boulder this year?
It's in Bobby Dodd. As a matter of fact, I don't know. I have a 40-year-old Georgia Tech coach because here's how not worried about that I am. I said it last year, and I'm doing it again this year. If by some miracle of God, like when you look at like your insurance stuff, it'll say like act of God and stuff not covered.
Yeah.
If by some act of God they beat us, I'll drink that 40-year-old Coke live. When I get home, I'll go live and I'll shave my head. They're awful. They're so bad and so little. They've now banned anyone from any reporter from practice.
Yeah, they can't film practice. They can't take notes. That's kind of interesting.
That tells you you're not very good and you can't accept it. What's coming down the pipe. And that doesn't mean I think Georgia Tech's going to be very good this year at all. It's just they were last in the Big 12 last year in sacks allowed at 38. Yeah. Deion Sanders has never given 2 craps about having a competent offensive line. if you listen to their fans, everything's going to be different this year because I don't know magic is gonna make them better, but they're not. Georgia, I tell you what, I don't bet. If you had to, you take Georgia Tech to cover that line, though.
Yeah, I got Georgia Tech winning that game, and the biggest reason is for what you said. Colorado has struggled in the trenches. Anybody that's worth a crap in the trenches ends up transferring. And what if you could say whatever you want about Georgia Tech, they will have good trench play.
They're going to pound the rock. They've got Justice Haynes, who's going to run for 400 yards on them,
which was shocking. That's when it tells you, like, I think people need to be reminded that Georgia Tech's fans have some deep pockets. NIL should not be a problem if they get some momentum in that football program. To get a guy like Justice Haynes out of the portal, that couldn't have been cheap.
Well, I don't think that means Georgia Tech has deep pockets, because I know that not to be the case. But what it tells you is what their offensive identity is going to be.
Yeah.
They bring in an NFL guy and George Godsey, and then they go get a top probably 5, running back in the country, and they pay him, I don't know, between $2 and $3 million. Yeah. It's a big get for us. Plus, that our running back room we didn't need Justice Haynes. We got Malachi Hosley, we got Trelane Maddox, who's also a big back out of Parkview, which I think you have a Charlie Whitehurst, I think, maybe played at Parkview, if I'm remembering right.
That sounds right.
Anyways, yeah.
Well, and the offensive line, let's flip back over to the offensive side of the ball. The offensive line should be fantastic this year. I mean, would you agree that might be the best part of your offense, or would you point somewhere else? No, where's your best part, you think?
Running back room.
Okay, that makes sense. So do you think the running back – go ahead.
No, I don't know about the offensive line. So you lose 3 off that offensive front from last year. You're bringing in a new center. So we already had one issue we had up front last year was the snap. We had to rotate 2 quarterbacks quite a bit. Both those guys are gone.
Yeah.
Right. One of which I think Haynes King was part of this mass exodus to Florida with Aaron Philo and Harpering, and there was a receiver that went over there. So you bring in Joseph Ionata out of Alabama. So the first thing I'm going to be looking for is, what does that quarterback center exchange look like in an entirely new offense with an entirely new offensive staff and new offensive coordinator. But it's, for me, that's the litmus test. I don't know. You've got guys like Ethan McKinney that have played quite a bit. Malachi Carney, like, you've got some guys with experience. But the thing with offensive line is chemistry's huge, because you all get up there, you got to make your calls quick, then you've got to adjust. You got to trust the guy beside you, if they stunt, right, is going to pick up the right guy. So we got to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and a guy like Ethan McKinney that you just mentioned, and then Malachi Carney, those guys are projected to be some of the best 2 players at offensive line in the ACC. So I think they finished last year, according to Pick Six Preview, at 2nd in the ACC in terms of offensive line play. You lose Keelan Rutledge, who is fantastic, somebody we really wanted out of the portal.
Yeah, guy y'all probably should have got.
Yeah, but that was rigged. Whatever.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up starting this year, by the way.
Yeah,
really?
Great player.
Yeah, he's a freaking. You want to talk about a freaking dirt bag? That's Dustin likes to call the good offensive lineman dirt bags. That is 5,000% what he is. To stay on the offensive side of the ball in the skill position room, you get a guy like Isaiah Furman out of Elon, which, again, another guy that Clemson pursued. I don't know how heavily, but Clemson pursued Isaiah Furman. And Georgia Tech nabs him. Now, he's not Isaiah Canyon. He's not Eric Singleton or Eric Rivers, but I think he's got a lot of upside. I believe he was a 1,000-yard receiver at Elon last year. So he's someone who can play. And you know what? In a Georgia Tech offense, it's not the triple option offense anymore. So don't get caught up in your grandfather's root beer. But this is an offense that is going to predominantly run the football. Yes. So you don't need to go out there and be a 10-catch guy a game. You just need to get open one time. You need to be able to be reliable on 3rd down. And with Gavin Harris, with Harping leaving to go to Florida with Buster Faulkner and the crew, the tight end room is completely revamped. So that worries me a little bit about a brand new starter at quarterback. Mm-hmm. However, you revamp your entire wide receiver room, and because your running back should be so good, that should help. Should. But I'll say this. You got a Mendoza at quarterback. How do you feel about having a Mendoza at quarterback? Not the Heisman, but his little brother.
Yeah, so that's a lot. First, with the wide receiver room, I think that's the weakest room on your offense. That's the weakest position group you have.
Agree.
Yes, losing Isaiah Canyon. And look, there'll be Georgia Tech fans. Anytime anyone transfers ever, weren't any good, never needed them. Loyalty, though. But they never bring this loyalty up with people that are transferring in, like pretty much every guy you just talked about, right? Look, yeah, the guy was a 1,000-yard receiver at Elon. The criticisms I give to other teams, like I'm hard, but I am fair. I give to my own team. So I got to see him do it at this level, though. Doing it at Elon's one thing. That's all great. He's, I think, a big-bodied 6'3" type guy. In fact, I think him and this Plummer kid from Cal are the same way. Got to see him do it here. The only guy who's returning that played last year that got any meaningful playing time is Jordan Allen. Now, Jordan Allen is a dude in the slot, come out of Buford. And I thought we were going to lose him too. The thing with us running the ball, though, yes, you don't have to be an all-world wide receiver, but there can be more pressure on you because when we're in a 3rd and 6 situation, and they're just saying, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to throw. We're going to put 8, 9 in the box, and you're just going to have to beat us in man coverage. It puts a little more pressure on your wide receivers because they got to make a play for you. We can't afford drops when we're only throwing 20 times or something in a game. So that'll be interesting to see. As far as Alberto Mendoza, again, I don't know anything about him as a college player because, again, the litmus test is what you can do on Saturday. Who his brother is means nothing to me as far as what kind of player he's going to be when you need him to make plays. Now, you can say he was with Cignetti at Indiana, so he's probably well coached. He's probably very disciplined. I think the thing about him that's good for Tech is he is fairly fleet-footed. So if we're going to want to run and pound the rock, there's probably going to be a lot of pressure when we do throw because everyone's kind of on their toes defensively. And he can probably extend some plays for you, which we're going to need quite a bit. But we'll have to see.
And that'll help you swallow the pill of losing Haynes King, which might be one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch when he's not playing Clemson of all time. Tell me if this is true. Is the more hurt Haynes King got, the better he would get during the game? I feel like if he broke his leg, he would run faster.
I think that is true. In fact, when he got to Atlanta, his wiener had been there for 50 minutes already. This guy is a grown man, if there ever was one. Okay, I don't know what it is about him. He played hurt most of his time at Tech. When he came into Tech, right, he had broken his leg. He had all sorts of injury issues, pops off his first year. And then, it's come out now that he basically destroyed his shoulder. During the Miami game, when we beat them down here when they were a top 5 team, he couldn't throw more than 5 yards. He couldn't do it. So they just did what they could with him running the ball, and then Philo came in at times. But, yeah, I mean, he's a lot of those wins are solely on his shoulder.
Yeah, it pains me, and I don't mean to bring up bad loss, but it pains me that y'all lost that game 2 years ago against Georgia because, I mean, that dude all but died on that football field. And I just knew y'all were going to win because of his efforts on the football field. So watching him play was just so much fun from afar.
Yeah, well, it's like it was frustrating though. Like as a Clemson fan, particularly when we played you guys last year, it's like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. It's like you're just yelling at the TV, guys. The ball's going to Haynes King. Like he's gonna carry the ball. Like it's like every like critical situation, it's Haynes King's ball. Like he's going to run.
It's gonna be read option.
Yeah,
it's gonna be read option.
Yeah, it's like and so like it's just you're just screaming at the TV, and then like he just gets it anyways, just because that's the kind of player he was.
I can't tell you how many times that would happen in that game. And my wife goes, "Why do you think you know it and the players don't?" And I
don't think it matters.
Yeah, don't talk to me right now. No, but and then speaking of the offense, I thought Aaron Philo had a fantastic arm. I thought there was a lot of potential there. Losing him and Buster Faulkner, I thought were huge to the momentum of what your program was building. I'm shocked he left for a program like Florida, to be honest with you, because wasn't he staying in Georgia Tech because his kids were going to school there, or what was the whole deal?
I think his kid went to North Oconee. Oconee's right in Athens. I could be wrong, but it was somewhere in that area. Yeah, something happened there, right? I mean, I don't I don't know, but something happened for him and all these people. He wasn't the only coach. The wide receivers coach also, Trent McKnight, went to Florida. And this is really what's turned a lot of Tech. I've had Tech fans say you're basically a Georgia fan, because I'm like, look, losing Buster Faulkner is huge. Buster Faulkner is a fantastic offensive coordinator.
Yes, he is.
All right.
We wanted him bad. Me and Dustin. I don't know if Clemson wanted him, but we wanted him bad.
And I think, he's going to do great things at Florida. And I agree with Aaron Philo. Aaron Philo is kind of an undersized guy, also played at Prince Avenue, that actually there's one quarterback in the state of Georgia that has thrown for more yards in a career than Trevor Lawrence, and it's Aaron Philo. He broke Aaron Philo's record. So he's a guy that do you remember, he's in my background here. You remember Greg Maddox when he played for the Braves?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You would never think this guy would be successful in any athletic contest. And that's kind of the when you look at Philo, like nothing pops out at you. He just knows where to go with the ball, though. He just finds where the ball needs to go and gets it there. So he's a huge loss too.
Yeah, that one has to be painful. And like a lot of the talent you had went to SEC schools. I mean, Aaron Philo obviously goes to Florida. You got Isaiah Canyon goes to Georgia. Bailey Stockton goes to Florida. Luke Harping goes to Florida. Harrison Moore goes to Florida. Peyton Joseph goes to Oklahoma. And then Taj Butler goes to Ole Miss. There was so much talent on that team last year. And man, it sucked to see them fall apart at the end and let a program like Duke sneak in there and go win that ACC championship. I thought you said you had something.
No, it seems like every offseason we talk about Georgia Tech's schedule because it's always ridiculously difficult, and this year's no different. Like, your out-of-conference games are Colorado, Tennessee, Mercer, and Georgia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're doing yourself no favors there. And then, like first of the year, you got Colorado, Tennessee, week 1 and 2. You got a break with Mercer. Then you got to go travel to Stanford. I'm not saying you should lose to Stanford, but
it's a 10:30 game.
It's a 10:30 game. Yeah. Like, we think the same thing about us going to Cal on a Friday night. It just sucks.
Ooh, Friday night cross country is another level of that.
Yeah. But it's just the travel. It sucks. It's terrible. And then, like, when you go down to the bottom of your schedule, you're ending the schedule Louisville, at Clemson, Wake, at Georgia.
Yeah, it's brutal. And Wake is a team you can't sleep on anymore.
At all.
No.
Wake had us beat last year. Should have beat us.
Yeah, that was an awesome game.
Yeah. We did a pod with a Miami guy, and he was like, if there's one game I'm worried about, it's Wake on a Friday night.
Yeah, because that's a team you'll overlook. And they'll sneak up on you. And Jake Dickert's just a fantastic coach, and that team will be prepared. So, the weakest game you have is Mercer, and they're named after the disease. So you don't want to go and play them and catch something, So that could be bad. Playing Tennessee, I'm surprised with all the teams that are backing out of these out-of-conference games. The fact, kudos to Georgia Tech and Tennessee for not backing out of that game. But that game, I think I'm very curious about what we see out of both programs in that game. I think we'll find out a lot about. I think the winner of that game ends up going 8-4. Is that fair?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Tennessee's going to probably have a true freshman quarterback. They got that 5-star kid. I forget his name.
Brandon. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be playing an inexperienced quarterback. Most likely, it's going to be a night game too in Atlanta. I don't know, and I guess they're going to be without their best defensive player unless some weirdness with the
safety,
happens. Yeah, so I don't know. I will say more kudos to Tennessee because no one bitch whines and complains like SEC teams about their schedule. And let's just call it what it is. Like Georgia Tech needs those games on their schedule more than the SEC team does. Though.
Yeah.
At least Tennessee didn't. I mean, hell, who backed out of the Virginia game? Who was playing Virginia out of there that backed out?
Was it Indiana? I think it was Indiana that backed out.
Might have been them. I think Georgia and Florida State might have had ones that they walked away from. I don't know. It's kind of gotten ridiculous.
Virginia was looking for a game because I'm pretty sure it was Indiana that backed out, and that's why NC State's playing them, and it's a non-conference game at the beginning of the year.
That's right.
That game's going to be electric. But let's come back to Georgia Tech. So you talked about the offensive coordinator, George Godsey. So you said he's been out of college football. I want to let people know he's not been out of football. He's been with the Ravens. He's been with the Dolphins. He's coached some pretty damn good tight ends. The Ravens, I don't know if you've heard, they've had some guys like Mark Andrews, and then the kid out of Coastal, who I'm forgetting his name.
Isaiah Likely.
Isaiah Likely, thank you. I likely wasn't going to remember that. But so he knows how to coach, and he's seen these not Buster Faulkner. Good God. Todd Monken. He's seen Todd Monken run offenses. Is that kind of the style he's going to bring into Atlanta?
Don't know. I mean, here's the thing. The thing with him is not coaching in college, to me, is a big deal, right? Because
that's Bill Belichick.
Why is Bill Belichick not winning national titles right now? It's because there are virtually, other than the game of football, nothing is the same between college football and the pros. In the pros, if you win the Super Bowl, you draft last. In college, if you win the national championship, you sign 8 5-stars generally.
Yeah.
So it's a complete, now with the NIL, with roster management, now we have general managers who are getting put on paid administrative leave. All this stuff is going on. So we got to see how he adapts, to the college game. Now, as far as the style of offense he's going to play, I mean, he's talked about running a true pro style offense. So I would think you're going to see a lot of like 3 tight end sets because you're going to want to pound the rock. Right?
Talk to me dirty, Rick. Talk to me dirty.
You'll probably, you want me really? We'll probably come out with 3 tight ends,
yes, sir,
in an imbalanced set, and then motion 2 of them to the opposite side. Stuff like that. Right.
I'm imagining this one. I like that. I like that. Hey,
probably
you know what? You really
not
want
a lot
to go
of
23, but you've got the running backs and the tight ends to do it. Now, well, let's talk about the tight ends. You go get Chris Gorbo out of Dartmouth, which the ACC has been notorious for getting guys out of the Ivy League that end up being good. Gavin Harris out of New Mexico State, and Spencer Merman's another Ivy League tight end. So you might have the smartest tight end room in the country. Would you disagree with that?
Well, we've hit on those guys. There was a guy, Jackson Hawes, that was just a menace blocking. In fact, he's playing for the Buffalo Bills right now. He's part of the Bills Mafia. So we've hit on those guys before. I've heard a lot of good things about the tight end room right now. In the spring game, I think we got a kid that's like 6'7", Kevin Roach, that was making ridiculous one-hand catches in the spring game. Now, for whatever you can draw from that, does that mean that he's going to do that on Saturday? No, but initially I was pretty down on the tight end room because we just lost everybody. I'm not as worried about the tight end room anymore. It's far more wide receivers and what is the continuity of the offensive line going to look like.
What day is your spring game played on? Is it played on a Saturday?
Yeah, it was played on a Saturday.
Hey, he's making one-handed catches on Saturdays.
There you go.
You got to ride it until it's wrong. Ride it until it's wrong. That's my philosophy right there.
My whole life.
So in terms of the transfers you got, who do you think is one of the most underrated guys you picked up, or maybe the best player you got? Obviously, Justice Haynes is the best. So let's go underrated.
Underrated. Maybe that Spencer Merman's out of Yale. I feel like I've heard some good things about him. He might be underrated. But look, we got to talk about Justice Haynes. I know you're talking about underrated, but we got to talk about Justice Haynes. Georgia Tech we were talking about it before we started recording, has a loaded wide receiver room, really, or a running back room already. Like Malachi Hosley
Love
is
that
a
guy.
really good back.
Yeah.
Then you go spend top dollar money when you needed defensive linemen, really, to get Justice Haynes out of Michigan. There's not a single running back last year that ran, I think, for more than like 78 yards against Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a dominant defensive run game. Justice Haynes ran for like $128 on him.
Yep.
This guy, if he can stay healthy, is probably the best running back in the conference, and he's one of the best running backs in the country. So really excited to get him. We should be able to keep him healthy with the depth we have in the running back room. Just looking down some of our other transfers, Noah Carter at defensive end has looked really, really good. And
another Alabama guy.
Yeah, another Alabama guy. Jordan Walker has, especially in the spring game, looked really good, and I've heard a lot of good things about. So that'd just be a few.
Can I tell you why AJ Hoffler is not playing well for y'all?
Oh, yeah, he came from Clemson. We love getting guys from you that end up sucking. Go ahead.
Well, so if your defensive end wears the tight end number, why is he wearing 88? Who let him do that?
I don't know. I can't explain any of these numbers. I mean, I'm an old guy, so I don't number 0 and stuff, or
I'm a big numbers guy. Like when who was it? Was it Denard Robinson or who was it that played for Michigan who came out there wearing like number 99? Was it Denard Robinson?
I don't know. It was. Yeah, it was me. Yeah, Michigan loves doing.
And I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand. And then Bear Bachmeyer for BYU, he was wearing whatever he was wearing, 47. It makes me sick to my stomach. I'm such a traditionalist when it comes to numbers. I don't care. I mean, the zeros are cool, whatever. But at 88 at a defensive end, I don't like it. That's
really quick. Since we're talking about this Clemson to Georgia Tech to obscurity, do you guys remember Zach Pumachan?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He came to Tech during the Colin era, right? Ended up playing against Georgia and somehow broke. No one had scored at that time. This was 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, it was during Key's interim year. No one had scored on an opening drive against Georgia in like 2 years, and Zach Pumachan did. Then ends up at UMass and loses the starting job.
Yeah.
Very interesting situation.
Yeah, he backed up DJ, and we had to see him at Pitt one day. Like DJ was just playing horrible at Pitt and finally got benched, and then we had to watch him play, and we're like, oh, that's why this kid doesn't play.
How many games did y'all win with DJU? 11?
10, 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. People should be a little nicer to Dabo because that's a miracle.
Trust me, man.
Yeah, I've had those battles a time or two. I have a question too. Kyle Efford. That's my question.
Yeah.
His neck roll, his coming out party against Florida State in Dublin, Ireland. I've been in love with him ever since then. I mean, as much as a man can love another man.
Yeah, dude. He kid from Decula, Georgia. I think he brought back the neck roll single-handedly. That was kind of popular when I played in like 2008, 2006 or something. Hey, lady, I'm doing YouTube. Jeez.
I'm eating ice cream, so I'm doing something more fun.
We have another special guest in here, Rec S, Talk S.
Sorry, dude. Anyways, that'll be handled swiftly. No, like Kyle Efford's a guy, like he's kind of gone back and forth, right? Like I think his first year that he really played, he was really good, dominant run stopper. And then probably, would you stop? Would you go? Do I pop up and wherever you're working, knock the spoon out of your hand? All right. So I feel like kind of regressed, and part of that is not all his fault because we've swapped DCs like most people do underwear, right? So hopefully with a guy who's a kind of linebacker specialist and Semore, he can play a little better. But yeah, the neck roll always looks good.
Yeah, he's the reason the guy that Florida State's been cursed. The guy didn't eat the poop, and Kyle Efford made 94 tackles in that game.
Some of these bets people are making are fantastic, by the way. I won't go into it, but there was one with a burrito that that guy was supposed to pay out on, and I think he did because Sea-Dog, a guy who I do shows with as well, showed me the picture, and I was like, man, there's nothing worse than a belt welcher, and he's not a belt welcher. You gotta give him that. I mean,
Kansas State's finest right there.
That's right. That's right.
So how do you feel this year? I mean, obviously Clemson, Georgia Tech play towards the end of the year. So both teams, there's a lot of up in the air with Clemson this year. Even, like we talk about Clemson every day. We don't know what Clemson's going to be this year, but you look ahead to that matchup. How do you feel about Georgia Tech versus Clemson this year coming off the year there? You beat us on the fire zone field goal.
Not good. I mean, look, Clemson, y'all had a ton of guys drafted off your team last year, if I remember right?
9.
Especially off the defense. So 9. A lot of them came off your defense, and a lot of those guys that were drafted off your defense didn't really contribute a ton for you as far as statistically is concerned. I just think, look, Georgia Tech rolls their whole staff over. They lose the best player they've had in some time. Like, I have Tech going 6-6 this year. I put out my season prediction video. I just don't see a world where you lose all that players and staff and then you don't take a step back. Like Death Valley, I've been to before. In fact, the last time we played y'all in Death Valley, I was there. And one thing I want to say about that is if you get up in the uppers, I don't know. It's like 45-degree angle up there. Like if you were to
It's
is.
terrifying. Yeah.
that's it. That's a wrap. I don't see us going to Death Valley and get a win though, because we're probably going to be a little bit beat up by that part of the year on the offensive front. Maybe Justice Haynes is a little beat up. I know you have more depth than Georgia Tech does right now. I would think Clemson probably handles Tech in that game.
Well, I'll say, like, I know that, you're talking about rolling your whole staff over, but I feel like there's a decent identity with Brent Key in terms of physicality, and that's kind of like what Clemson's really regressed with. Like, if you look at the teams that Clemson really struggles with as of late, it's just teams that are, like, willing to just line up and be physical and test their manhood. So, like, I kind of look at Georgia Tech in that regard as kind of like a thorn in the side. Like, maybe you don't have the talent, but maybe just the style you're willing to play kind of pushes up against Clemson. And like I said, I don't know what our team's going to be this year. Like we had 12 transfers, 11 of them were on defense. So like we have a completely new defense this year, pretty much. So it's going to be interesting for sure.
The problem with Key is it's been inconsistent though. He'll come out talking all that physicality, and then the Pitt game happens where you get down 28-0 and you look like a bumbling idiot. So we'll have to see how consistent he can be with that.
Yeah, this could be a make it or break it in terms of like how much momentum he can build off of the beginning of last year. But it could also be one of those situations where like Nebraska starts 6-0 every year nowadays with Matt Rule and then ends the year poorly. So I think this is a big time year for Brent Key, and maybe he knows that. And maybe, there's some sense of urgency on why you go in and you pay a little bit extra up for some of these Alabama guys on the defensive side of the ball. Now, granted, Alabama's not what they were with Nick Saban, but when you still have that script A coming over, that still brings some weight with it. So Georgia Tech is not a slouch. I think I've got them 7-5. They're not a slouch. They're going to play everyone difficult. I'm curious to see y'all play Georgia, to be honest with you, because I mean, obviously it's at the end of the year, but the way Georgia Tech is built right now is perfect to go up against Georgia. So that game has been fun the last couple of years with Brent Key since he's taken over. And you talk about the teams that that have been good the past couple of years. Duke, if you want to beat Duke, run the football. You better be able to run the football. You want to beat Colorado, out physical them. You want to beat Louisville, you got to out physical them. You want to beat Clemson, you got to be able to run the football. Wake Forest, same thing. Like, so the strength of your team can play against anybody, anywhere, anytime. And that's something you cannot look past when you're playing against a Georgia Tech team. Brent Key coaches them well, and they play somewhat physical offensively. Defensively has been the biggest gap, and I'm thinking that with the replacement in DC, this might finally be the guy. He comes in from Southern Miss with what's the guy's name? Charles Huff.
Charles Huff, yeah.
Who I respect as a defensive coordinator and a defensive play caller. The guy, everywhere he's gone, the defense has been pretty good. So I can't wait to watch that Memphis UNLV game week 0 because of that matchup too. But anyway, so we're talking about the Clemson game. Are you going to Death Valley?
No, so I go to every Tech home game, and I usually try to go to an away game. One of which was Clemson. I won't be there. I went to UNC when Collins was there, DC. But I don't think I'm going to make. I would really like to go to Blacksburg. I don't think I'm going to make it happen though.
That's one I want to make it to, and then we'll end it on this. So Dustin is a warrior for being here. By the way, everybody needs to go and wish Dustin's happy birthday. Is his oldest son. He just turned 19, right, Dustin? 19 years old?
Close, yeah.
But I want a fun fact about Georgia Tech that maybe like an obscure fact that maybe some people don't know about that program. Is there anything that comes to the top of your head?
Obscure fact about Georgia Tech. Okay, so there is a fictional, mythical character named George P. Burdell. And I guess how this came about way back in the day was someone accidentally messed up their admission slip. So this guy was enrolled in classes that didn't exist. And so now he has every degree.
You sure his name is like Luke Ferrelli?
Yeah, it was actually Luke Ferrelli. No, he has every degree Georgia Tech's ever had. He has a perfect 4.0. He was like Times Person of the Year in the 40s or something, even though he doesn't exist. So that's kind of some backdoor Georgia Tech lore.
And what was his name?
George P. Burdell.
George P. Burdell.
Damn, never heard that one.
That's an awesome
so if
story.
you look at like anything that just needs like a random name, like an example when you're in any class at Georgia Tech, it'll be George P. Burdell.
That is a very fun and interesting fact.
There you go, dude. You asked and you received.
Yeah,
I ask a question for like pretty much every time we have a guest on, like, and I just got a very specific one for you. What the hell is going on with Georgia Tech jerseys? Like, what are y'all doing with the jerseys, man?
Dude, I did a whole video about it. Like, so we get Under Armour, right, which hadn't been cool since I played high school football, and we all, wanted the Under Armour visors and stuff. They look awful. It has like this two-toned number shadow. I tell you what they look like to me. They look like rich parents' middle school jerseys. Like they had way too much money to spend on middle school jerseys. I hate them. Now, evidently the players voted on them and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, great, this is like government where everyone gets an opinion and you just get this amalgamation of a turd that no one ever wanted. So.
Well, and like in this era, like the players' opinions on traditional things is like you're going to lose all tradition because these guys don't know like why Georgia Tech is the way they are and what they dress, the way they dress. Like, so that kind of stinks.
Well, what's the most iconic thing about the Georgia Tech jersey? It's the gold helmet.
Yeah.
It's the gold helmet. Now we got to wear white sometimes and not others. It's so bad that I can't even stomach playing NCAA 27 right now.
Well, at least you have black pants.
Well, at least I'm a PC Master Race guy and I can mod some jerseys that I like.
We've had some pretty interesting answers from Dustin's questions on people's uniforms.
I just saw them on Twitter, and they just, man, it's not doing it for me, man. But like thinking back, like at your entire Georgia Tech fanhood, like what is a Georgia Tech jersey? Like which ones did you like? Like which ones do you think they got right?
The ones Godsey wore. I think that's when we had Russell, which doesn't do any team.
The one behind, is that behind you is a Russell jersey?
Yes.
Background? Yeah.
This one I liked. Yeah. Here's what people don't understand about jerseys, and I'm sorry that you opened up this rant, but you asked.
Okay, I love it, dude.
Anytime you need contrast, so you don't want two like colors butt up. You don't want a dark color butt up against another dark color. So I like these just gold number, and then you have the navy border and a white jersey. Why does it need to be more complicated than this?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
I like the Clemson jerseys. Simple. Sometimes you wear purple, and that becomes its own mythos. When are we wearing the purple?
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, well, so one thing is like I look back at it was Dabo was there 2009, 2010. We had the paw on the shoulder blade like over here. All Dabo did is in 2015 or 16. Which was it, Will? 2015?
15.
All he did was move the paw to the shoulder up here, and it looks fantastic. And it's like every time I turn on the TV, like, or anytime anyone turns on TV, you know exactly which team Clemson is because they only wear two jersey combinations the majority of the time. Yeah, and like all these teams that want to throw out like black jerseys when black's not even a part of their color scheme and all this stupid crap. I saw Texas A&M has camouflage jerseys today. Like it's just like, dude, stop, man.
What is that? I'm sorry. I actually lost my track because I just realized that Will gives off Chris Hansen vibes. Like I swear.
Why don't you take a seat? Why don't you take a seat? I promise I'm not coming at you. I promise I'm not trying to lure you into a trap right now, sir.
Let's go ahead and read the transcript. Look, can we not do that's the last thing I want to do. Anyway, sorry.
You said what about Jeff Collins?
Oh, Jeff, look. He had a costume party when he was coach. For one of the practices, they all dressed up as like Marvel characters, and then they had like a little home run derby.
Did they practice that?
Whoever that guy's agent is, that's who you. If you need to get another job, you get Jeff Collins' agent. That man got paid $11 million to not coach at Georgia Tech. He was making $1 million plus at UNC. Got $1 million buyout to leave. Then he went to South Carolina to hold what's their coach's name again? Shane Beamer. Hold his jock strap. Now go follow him on Twitter when we get off here. He now he's been to Virginia, he's been to Pitt, and he'll post pictures with like 40 arm bracelets on of that team because no one wants to hire him. I've never seen anything like it.
But that was a hell of a practice.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man.
Well, Rec Talk, Where can our fans find you on social media?
All right, on Twitter, which I'm not super active on, I mostly just troll other fan bases, is at rec_talk because some porn bot stole my password to the other one and I was never able to get it back. Side note, if an attractive girl is in your DMs, it's a scam. You can also find me on YouTube. Just search Rec Talk. All right. And, you can see me crash out. Go look at the pit video when I'm driving home from the pit game last year, talking about Lord of the Rings, Abraham Lincoln, and Haynes King.
This is wait. I'm about to go watch this video right now. So it's against it's you a pit because you just tickled all my fancies in one.
Yeah, I think I
way to
said,
say that. I'm sorry.
We kept going 3 and out. Like this isn't 4 score and 7 Haynes King failed drives ago. What are we doing? There was something to that effect. I was mad, and I was in. Have you ever? Where do y'all live? Are y'all around Atlanta at all?
I'm in the Greenville-Spartanburg area, so
I'm
close to Atlanta.
I'm in Florida, and anytime I have to drive through Georgia, I avoid Atlanta at all costs.
Okay, so I was in like Metro Atlanta traffic, which also makes me a psychotic, crazy person, which is a requirement to drive there.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it is. Well, Rec Talk, thank you so much for. Oh, how do you find us? Find you on YouTube?
Just type Rec Talk in there. You just type Rec Talk in there, and Rec Talk will come find you.
All right, we'll find it. You know what? And you won't have to take a seat. I'm not going to make you take a seat. I'm not going to go Chris Hansen on you. But Rec Talk, I really appreciate you coming on and talking Georgia Tech football. That's Dustin Black. I'm William Cockrell, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right.